Yo, what's up, movie people? I hope you're doing well. This is going to be my June 2023 movie tier list. I saw about 13 movies during June, so let's get right to the tier list. Alright, first up on our tier list is Asteroid City. Asteroid City is one that I was worried about going into because I thought I was a little old of Wes Anderson's style and how he really made his movies and how he does production design, how he shoots them and all that. But, I went into it with an open mind and actually came out liking it a decent bit, and it's kind of stuck with me because of the messages that this movie, gave you. I didn't expect this movie to have so many deep messages about life and, what life means. But I really came out of it with a lot of that meaning, and I'm really liking it more and more every time I think about it. And as I said in my review, the cast is just incredible. Everyone brings it. Some people just have, one or two scenes, but, man, they do well in those one or two scenes. And I really do like how this movie is shot, and I really love everything in the town and everything outside the town where they're talking about the play. I've been thinking about that more and more because it's really sticking to me a lot. And I think that this movie works on a lot of levels. It might be Wes's most diverse film. Some people think it's really bad. Some people love it a lot. I think it's really good so far. So I want to put Asteroid City in the good tier. It's pretty high up there. It could move up more if I see it more times. Next up is Across the Spider-Verse. What do I gotta say about this movie? I've been talking about this movie the whole month. It came out at the beginning of the month. This movie is just fantastic. It's a phenomenal movie. It's better than perfect in my opinion. It kind of changed the way I thought about movies this year when I saw it, because I've seen this movie now 8 times in the theaters. It's now my most seen movie in a theater. 8 times is the most I've ever seen a movie. It's kind of crazy to think about 8 times, but it's been out for almost a month so far, so I think it's warranted. But what everyone was able to do on this movie is just fantastic. The voice cast is amazing, the plot's amazing, the cliffhanger is killer, animation is the best I've ever seen in my life. And I just love the emotions that this movie gave me. And the soundtrack, oh my gosh, the soundtrack's been on repeat since this movie's been out. I love the soundtrack by Metro Boomin. I think it's an excellent film, and I think it's one of my favorite films of all time now. So I'm going to put it in the amazing tier, of course. Next up is Elemental. Elemental is one of those movies that's kind of gone under the radar because it's kind of not making a lot of money, and it needs to make a lot more money to break even. But, more people are coming around to it because word of mouth has been pretty good. A lot of people have been not going to see it because Pixar movies are usually on Disney Plus, but now they're going back in theaters. Disney kind of messed with the brand. But I really do think that this Pixar movie really works a lot. I was really going into it to be really disappointed and all that because Rotten Tomatoes score wasn't that great. Even though I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes too much, I do see the scores, so I couldn't let that impact me, but I kind of did. But I came out of the movie and I actually thought this one was really good. It's top 15 Pixar for me, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And you can see my Pixar tier list video on my channel. It's on there right now. Go check it out. But I really loved what they did with this movie. It's like a full-blown romance, kind of Pixar's first full-blown romance, kind of like WALL-E. It's kind of a romance. But I really do love the environment that they're telling here. Kind of an immigrant story too with the fire people. I really enjoyed that a lot. And Wade and Amber's romance, I said, works fantastically. The ending of this movie is pretty sad, like every single Pixar movie. But, I really do think it's just a great story. And I think it's a great comfort watch for me. So I'm going to put Elemental in the great tier. Next up is Flamin Hot, the biopic about the Flamin' Cheetos guy, which I don't even know if this movie is 100% true or not. I've heard many reports that none of it's true. I heard reports that some of it's true. So I don't know, but it came out on Hulu and Disney Plus earlier this month. And it's just not what I was expecting out of this movie. It kind of feels like a reality movie, in my opinion. It's not great. It's really not great. Let me just say that. Because if we've gotten a lot of biopics this year, and if you compare this one to Air, Blackberry, and some others coming out this year, this one's going to be at the bottom, and it's at the bottom for me. I think that this movie just is really stupid in my opinion. I mean, you can find laughs in it, but I just didn't laugh at all at it, and I think the story is just, I don't think there needs to be a story about a Flamin' Hot, the guy who made Flamin' Hot Cheetos. The story needs to be made for Air, Michael Jordan, and Blackberry, but not for Flamin' Hot. I just didn't enjoy it that much, I feel like it would have worked so much better if the story was about the whole company as a whole and not just the Flamin' Hot Cheetos. But we can get what we get. It's just not my type of thing. So Flamin' Hot for me is going in the bad tier. Next up is Run Rabbit Run, a new Netflix thriller movie. And let me just say that this one just did not work for me at all. It's not a great movie. It's not a great thriller at all. I was just not into it the whole time. I was really bored. Like I'm so sad to admit whenever a film bores me, but this film really bores me. And it's like if a thriller needs to be like a thriller, you need to have some scares in here, and you need to have it to be at least interesting. But this one wasn't interesting at all, and the scares were just so like half-baked. Nothing was actually scary here, and I was just kind of laughing by the end because of how stupid it turned out to be. Like, it just reminded me of all the other Netflix films this year that are at the bottom of my yearly list, and we'll get to that by the end of the year. But this one, it's going in the bad tier. Of course it is. It's not good. Next up is No Hard Feelings, Jennifer Lawrence's new romantic comedy type of film, and I saw this one early. I do have a review on it from the channel, but I think this one is really good. I had a lot of laughs with this one, and I just feel like it's a really good return to like the comedy genre. It feels like an early 2000s comedy that I really enjoy. Has a lot of laughs in it, and there's even a lot of heart in the second half, which I really appreciated because some comedies don't have a lot of heart. And when you get the heart and it works, it really works well. I think Jennifer Lawrence here really does show that she needs to be in more romantic comedies, or just gnarly, like gruesome nudity comedies like this. I don't know about gruesome, but really like rated R, hard R comedies. That's what she needs to be in, more of those. Like, I really enjoyed her in this a lot, and I can't wait to rewatch it once I own it on home media a lot, because I love just putting on comedies, man. They're just so funny. So I'm gonna put No Hard Feelings in the good tier. Next up is Past Lives. Past Lives, man, what a perfect movie. I have a review on it for the channel, like you'd expect. And this movie, I can't talk about it for too long because it makes me really sad. But Past Lives is just such a beautiful movie, and it's beautifully made. Everyone in this movie is probably going to get nominated for an Oscar in any category. The screenplay is excellent. Emotions are really going through you when you watch this movie. The pacing's wonderful. I really actually enjoy the score a lot in this movie too, and I love the message. You know, what ifs. It's based on what ifs. You know, what if something else happened in your life? What would change? You know, what happened in your past lives? You know, that's what this movie is really about. And I really want you guys to go in with an open mind. But I'm just saying, this is a perfect movie, excellent movie. It's gonna be one of the best of the year for me probably so far, because it's in my top 3 so far. So it's going in the amazing tier. Next up is Extraction 2. Extraction 1 I just watched last year, and I actually had a pretty good time with it. So I was going into this one, I was like, oh, let me just get a good fun movie and I'll be happy. And that's exactly what I got. I had a good fun action movie. Sure, some of the characters are really half-baked and I don't care about them too much. The action here, though, is outstanding. Some of the best action of the year. Not as good as John Wick 4, but there's a 21-minute one-take scene in a prison yard, and it's literally one of the best scenes of the year. I was just like, my jaw was dropped. I was so excited during this scene, and I was just living it. You know, this movie had some great action, but still the script is not the best. But some people don't need a good script for this movie, which I understand. That's not really what I'm going into a movie for, which is a script and an action movie like this. But Chris Hemsworth really brought it in his performance. I really did love it in this. This is kind of what I wanted Thor 4 to be, but Thor 4 was more of a comedy, and I was kind of upset. But, you know, Extraction 2, it's going in the good tier. It's a really good movie. Next up is Shooting Stars. This is kind of like the LeBron biopic kind of movie. Like, we have a lot of biopics, and this is kind of like a LeBron biopic. It came on a Peacock. It's a Peacock original, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like a story of him going through high school and his high school team, and how they became popular and how they became so great as a high school team. But LeBron is at the center, of course. And you know, I find this movie to be okay. Watching it, I really found that I had a pretty good time watching it, but after watching it, I really didn't leave with any like desire to go watch it again, or like any thoughts after. Like, sometimes a movie leaves me with pretty good thoughts. This one just left me just not thinking about it too much. It kind of just left me mellow, because it's kind of like a really half-baked movie in my opinion, and it really does feel like a streaming movie. And if a movie feels like a streaming movie, and I take a couple points down, because your movie shouldn't feel like that kind of movie. It should just feel like a movie, you know. LeBron's biopic here, it was all right. You know, I feel like there could have been so many better scenes in this, but the camera work was also kind of iffy in points. So I'm gonna put Shooting Stars in the okay tier. Next up is Transformers Rise of the Beast. So this one I saw in the early screening. I also saw it again after that, so I've seen it twice so far. And I kind of left the first time thinking it was really good, but after I saw it the second time, I feel like the second act really drags a lot in this movie. I don't know if I'm going to keep being that way when I watch it on digital, because I'll probably own it on physical media. But I feel like the second act just doesn't work with me. I think the first and third act are really strong. The second act is just so slow, so much exposition, and I just really didn't want that much exposition in a Transformers movie, because I've seen so many Transformers movies, you don't have to explain all that so much. But the third act really made up for it with a final battle that just got me going. There's some cool soundtrack songs in the third act too. Bumblebee has one of his best moments in the Transformers franchise in the third act, and I was really enjoying that third act a lot. I was really in it. You know, I just had a great time watching this movie. Even though the second act was a little rough, I still think the rest is pretty good. So I'm going to put Transformers Rise of the Beast in the good tier. Next up is the Boogeyman. Boogeyman is like a new Stephen King horror movie that just came out. Came out the same week as Spider-Verse, so a lot of you probably didn't see it. But, you know, I didn't have any expectations going into this. I hardly saw the trailer. Like, I didn't even pay attention when I saw the trailer. But it's actually not bad. It's not bad, but it's not great. There's some pretty good scares in here, and I kind of like the story a lot. The actors did a fine job. I just feel like what it lacked was a strong script and strong plot. It kind of felt like a short story, which I think that is based off of. So it didn't really feel like it needed a whole movie about the Boogeyman. But I really did like some of the jump scares. I feel like they worked a lot. Scared my friends when I saw it, but I didn't really get too scared. But I did appreciate the good jump scares, and I appreciate the Boogeyman's design. The Boogeyman had a great design in here. He was actually pretty terrifying. And I like the third act fight scene, because in a horror movie fighting a monster, you got to get that third act fight scene done very well. And I liked how this one was done, so I'm going to put the Boogeyman in the okay tier. Next up is the Flash. The Flash, let's call it the flop. Sorry, but it's true, it's flopping. But the Flash isn't a bad movie at all. I think it's pretty good. You know, I have a lot of issues with the CGI and the third act. I feel like those are just so half-baked. Like, the CGI just looks like plastic all the time. And it's ridiculous how half-baked that is, considering I spent so much time working on it. But I feel like the emotional factors of this movie work a lot. Ezra Miller does a fantastic job. And Michael Keaton, I was happy to see him back. Sasha Calais, she was awesome in this. Some of the action in the first and second act are actually pretty good. But the third act just loses its momentum. It just feels like one of those comic book movies that just takes a plain environment and just does a weird fight in it. That's all I think the third act is. But as I said, the first and second act are actually really good. It actually has a pretty good soundtrack in it too. And I do love when they go back into another timeline and two Barry Allens are working with each other, and I really do like that dynamic a lot. And I actually have a fun time with it, you know. A lot of people are hating on it, but I don't feel like it's bad. I feel like it's pretty good. So I'm going to put The Flash in the good tier. Ending it off with the last film of June 2023 that I saw was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This one left me disappointed, sadly. You can check out my review, it's on the channel. But, you know, I wish it was so much better. If you have seen this movie, the third act is actually really good. The rest is just like a half-baked action movie. Like, it just lacks the magic of Indiana Jones, and there's too many characters in this one. Character named Teddy was not needed at all. And James Mangold even directed it, but it doesn't feel like a James Mangold movie. It lacks the magic of a James Mangold movie. It lacks the magic of an Indiana Jones movie. I was very disappointed with it, but, you know, it's not bad by any means, because the third act really came in and kind of saved it for me. But it's just not great, so I'm just going to have to put Indiana Jones in the okay tier. Now we're on our final ranking. Nothing in the terrible tier this month. That's pretty good. In the bad tier, I'm going to leave it like that. That looks great for me. In the okay tier, we're going to put Shooting Stars at the bottom, Indiana Jones at the top, because it's better than the Boogeyman. And I just want to get this out of the way. I saw no bad movies in the theater this year. The only bad movies I saw were on streaming, so the theaters are giving me some good movies. Let's just say that. Indiana Jones and the Boogeyman aren't great, but they're not bad. So every movie I saw in theaters this month was a good movie, at least. Okay, on the good tier, I'm gonna put Asteroid City at the top. That could go up to great if I see it again. So I'm not gonna put it up to great right now because I haven't seen it again. But, you know, I'm gonna put where am I gonna put these? I'm going to put Transformers at the bottom. And I'm actually going to put... I'm actually going to leave it like that. I like No Hard Feelings more than Extraction 2. I think it has a lot of heart and it's very funny. The great tier, Elementals by itself for now. If I see Asteroid City again, Asteroid City could have been up there. And the amazing tier, Across the Spider-Verse is going to go up above Past Lives because it hit me harder. So that's my tier ranking of all the movies I saw in June 2023. Leave your favorite movies of June 2023 down in the comments down below. And that's it for our tier list today. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.